Will Democrat leaders grow a political spine on homelessness? Welcome to the Jason Rantz Show, presented by None Better Tax Resolution. On Monday, the Supreme Court of the United States heard Grants Pass, Oregon v. Johnson, a case that will upend progressives' failed policies on homelessness. Now, the central questions of this case, they're pretty simple. Can cities clear encampments if they don't have shelter space available? And is a camping ban punishing someone for conduct or for their status as a homeless person? It seemed pretty clear after arguments that the conservatives on the court are going to be voting with Grants Pass, giving cities the right to clear encampments. Chief Justice John Roberts asked a pretty simple question. If there's a shelter space, say, 30 miles away, that the city will drive the individual homeless person to, can you clear that encampment at that point? The Chief Justice did not love that answer.
Let's say there are 5 cities all around Grants Pass, and they all have homeless shelters, and yet the person wants to stay. You know, I've been a Grants Pass resident for a long time. I don't want to go to one of those shelters. Can that person be given a citation?
I think because of the concern I've mentioned, I think that would be a serious problem because...
You would say it would be a problem to give them a citation?
Yes, I think so, because you would be requiring, or the city's ordinance requires them to leave the city of Grants Pass. If the homeless shelter is right over the line, they can still be part of the community of Grants Pass.
No, but it's in another city. You keep fighting the hypothetical.
And that's why I think it's different. I'm not prepared to say it, that absolutely not, but I do think it's different because the city is implementing its policy of banishing people, its own residents.
Banishment is a strange word when you're talking about something 10 minutes away.
Until there's permanent free housing for thousands of local homeless people, activists and politicians refuse to prioritize sweeps. That's why you have the resistance to putting people in shelter beds. This isn't a public health crisis, it's a political crisis. And it's one that's going to be exposed when they don't have the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ban on encampment clearances to blame for their inaction. Sweeps work because if they're approached correctly, they put the right amount of pressure on people to go indoors, into programs that actually work. The homeless won't accept help because they know if they say no, they won't be hassled again for weeks, if not months. But they need to be hassled. Some of them, at least. It's for their own good. Those who suggest otherwise are perfectly content keeping these people living on the streets like animals. That's their way of showing compassion, apparently. Spare me. Seattle leaders like Mayor Bruce Harrell might finally be able to stop letting misguided compassion paralyze the city. But the mayor will have to grow a spine. He's still being led by the most radical left voices in his administration. And the same can be said of many left-wing mayors across the West Coast. The radical left warn the mayor of the political ramifications of upsetting the progressive base of activists. They're going to march, they're going to protest the second any of these sweeps starts. So what? Let them. At least it gets them out of their mother-in-law units they're living in rent-free at their parents' homes in Kirkland and Edmonds. Mayor Harrell could tell the radical left voices in administration that he's actually the mayor, and he's more interested in truly helping the homeless and making the city more livable. Now, maybe the SCOTUS decision in favor of homeless encampment bans will actually give him that spine. Because imagine this for a moment. Seattle reclaiming public spaces like sidewalks and parks, reducing crime and cutting down the spread of disease, all while actually creating meaningful pathways out of homelessness. This SCOTUS case isn't just about public camping. It's potentially a pivotal moment in our ongoing battle against failed progressive policies. Jason Rantz here with Greg Nunn, your local tax expert and advocate. Greg, thank you so much for coming on.
Hey, Jason, great to be with you again and talk about these tax issues.
So some folks out there have the IRS calling them nonstop or even coming to their door. What do you recommend they do?
You are protected by statute, by law, that when you have representation, they have to deal with your representative. And I am acting in your best interest when I'm dealing with the IRS. And I tell you, you don't want to talk to them, it'll just stress you out.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, then call Greg Nunn. Greg might be able to negotiate a settlement for up to 85% off the original amount owed, and that includes penalties and interest. Call Greg Nunn today. Did you like that commentary? Make sure you subscribe to the podcast of The Jason Rantz Show. Get it at KTTH.com or wherever it is you download your podcasts.